Welcome back, everybody, to Sports Time Ohio's very special edition of Browns One-on-One. I'm Jim Donovan, sitting alongside the new head coach of the Cleveland Browns, Eric Mangini. As you follow your career, you worked for under three big names in the NFL as head coaches: Bill Parcells, Bill Belichick, and I think one of the nicest guys you'll ever want to meet in any walk of life, Ted Marchibroda. Start with him. What did you learn from Ted Marchibroda? And I assume that was with Baltimore.
Ted, yeah, that was with the Ravens, and what Ted taught me was invaluable in terms of the offensive approach, and him developing the K-gun in Buffalo, and how successful that system was over time. And it's evolved, and there's a lot of teams that use variations of that. The approach to 2-minute drives and the things that he did there, I took with me and used in New York, and we use here as well. Just very innovative offensively. He
had that big play sheet, that big board in front of him. I remember a Saturday afternoon, great playoff game at the old Municipal Stadium. Bills, Browns, and the Bills were way down in the game, way behind. Second half, the Bills come out in that K-gun offense, and it's up and down the field, and a Clay Matthews interception saved the game. But the next year, that's when Buffalo really took off, and you could tell his offense at that time, people just didn't have an answer for it.
Well, like I said, there's variations of that in the league at a lot of different places, and it causes problems. And the way that he ran it, he was able to keep the system very simple for the players, which allowed them to play fast, but it had answers to the problems that they faced.
Bill Parcells. I remember meeting Bill Parcells when I was working for NBC Sports, and he had left coaching, and he came to NBC Sports to work as an analyst. And I was timid meeting him along those lines. What was it like to coach under him?
That was an incredible experience. That's when I was at the Jets the first time, and I was the young guy on the defensive staff, and that staff was Romeo Crennel, Al Groh, and Bill Belichick. And the head coach was, of course, Bill Parcells and other guys on that staff. Todd Haley was the offensive assistant at that time. Charlie Weiss was there, and Dan Henning was there right on down the line. So it was another unique group of people to work with and learn from. And seeing Bill, the way that he ran the team, the way that he managed the players, the way that he managed the coaches, his game management, all of those things were impressive.
He seemed to know the right button to push all the time. What do you think?
He
pushed a lot of buttons too.
He's got an incredible knack for that, and he understands people. And combining that with his wealth of knowledge as a football coach produces the success that he's had.
But your success then with the Patriots and the Belichick Patriots are now the newest, I think, the newest form of a dynasty in the NFL. You must be incredibly proud. And when I talked to Romeo about it, he was incredibly proud of the seasons and the body of work that was done with the Patriots. Because not only did they win, and win a lot, but it was the way they won. I mean, it was smart, it was well prepared, you could see it. What was it like being part of that?
It was probably the most influential part of my career, and to go through the initial season where we were 5-11, we were struggling early the next year, and then to transition to the winning streak that we had, that didn't happen at that moment. That happened with all the work that we had done leading up to that moment. Mm-hmm. And like putting snow on a mountain, eventually the avalanche hit, and the way that everybody put their egos aside, the way that everybody worked and cared, and it was a special environment, a special feeling, and something that I think is truth in sports, that character and a group of guys working together, you can do anything.
And so you bring that here. You brought it to the Jets, now you bring it here. You mentioned tough, smart team. I want tough, smart players. Is that a tough mission here? Are you on your way to doing it? Is it going to take time?
Well, what we have in the draft room, what we have in the free agency room is smart, tough, hardworking, competitive, selfless, and guys that football's truly important to. And that's what we call our core characteristics. That's what we want every single Browns player to have that we bring into the building. And I talk about it with the players all the time, and how important that is. And in addition to that, we have what we call core values, and those are communication, focus, finish, and trust. That's how we're going to operate as a team. Get those players here, operate under those principles, and make progress every day.
All right, so I can see why Randy bought this, because I'm buying it right now, and I know the players, they need to buy it to do it. When you're talking about that, all this, the qualities of a player, and then the inside of the player, and being tough and smart and prepared and taking care of the guy that lines up alongside of you, you mentioned nothing about speed, strength, what a guy can do in the weight room.
And I know that the personnel side will get frustrated with me at times, because I don't want to know about the player until I know about the person. Mm-hmm. So oftentimes we'll have that discussion, and there'll be a player to be looked at, and I'll say, well, what do you know about him? What's he like in the locker room? How is he to be coached? How hard does he work? How hard does he study? How much does he care? And then once I get a beat on those things and know that he'll fit the core characteristics, then we go look at the player.
And your draft class seemed to follow that way. The kids that you took this draft seemed to be very intelligent kids, the kind of kids I wish I had sat next to when I took my own SATs. These guys all seem to do very well.
I want that team that I have three boys, and I want my boys to be proud of the Cleveland Browns, not because their dad is the head coach, but because of the type of people that play for the Cleveland Browns, and for the type of team that we have and the way that we play. That's what I want them to be excited about. Like, I want all the kids in Cleveland to be excited about it. I think it's, when I think of Ohio and Cleveland, that's what I think about. It's who the Browns are.
And when we come back, we'll continue on Browns One-on-One with Browns head coach Eric Mangini. We'll talk a little bit more about what you're going to see this year, the 2009 Cleveland Browns. Sports Time Ohio, thanks for being with us here on Browns One-on-One. I'm Jim Donovan, alongside the Browns head coach Eric Mangini. Let's go inside your team, all right? Let's talk about this team. We have all lived through Kozar Testaverde, Tim Couch versus everybody that was also a quarterback here when he was here. So I guess what I'm saying is, a lot of times there have been battles for the quarterback position, and there's one that will take place on the fields outside here now. Brady Quinn, Derek Anderson. You brought in someone from the Jets, Brett Ratliff, who performed very well against the Browns in a preseason game last year. Richard Bartell is here. What about when there's competition at the quarterback position in a training camp? Is that okay? Is that what you want to see anyway?
I've gone through quarterback competitions. I've experienced this, and I really like the way that our guys are approaching it. They're intensely competitive, but they also help each other, and that's what I would expect. That's what I'd expect from any positional battle, where you're putting your best foot forward to make a case that you should be the starter at that position, but you're also understanding that that's your teammate, and you're going to help your teammate to be successful in whatever way you can be, and that's what I've seen from that group.